we're going to talk about the differences between perimeter, area, volume, and how sometimes it seems really complicated, but if you break it down, it's pretty simple. Hi guys! So we're going to talk about how to find the differences between perimeter, area, and volume. Just a refresher, perimeter is what it's called when you're trying to find how much it is around an entire shape. This can be any kind of shape. It could have 4 sides, it could have 6 sides, it could have 10 sides. As long as it's closed, you can find the perimeter. Now, area is when you have a shape and you're trying to find how much is inside. So when we're finding that one, we have to use a slightly different approach than with perimeter. And volume is our 3D shape. And then, similar to area, we have to find out how much can fit inside the whole thing. But it's not just one side, there's lots of sides. For right now, we're going to focus just on quadrilateral shapes. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, here's my chart. I usually have this up in my classroom. I find it really simple and easy because honestly, it's the same pattern over and over and over again. And if you understand how to find perimeter, how to find area, how to find volume, the numbers will change, but as long as you understand these 3 things, no problem. Okay, so first of all, I drew some fancy shapes here, just as a reminder and a helper for us to understand the sides. Okay, for perimeter, again, we're trying to find all the amount each side creates. So I chose a kind of fancy, unique shape here. So the number of sides we need to find perimeter is all of them. This could be, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could be 8 sides, could be 9 sides, could be 3 sides, could be 4. So as long as you know you need all of them to find your perimeter, no problem. Now operation, a reminder, operation means how are we solving it? Are we using addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Those are the 4 we use. We are going to be using addition. Ta-da! Now for units, this is what's important, and find that this is what's going to make the decision if you got the right or the wrong answer. Units are what we call the things that we're using to measure. So like centimeters, inches, meters, yards, whatever it is. You just have your units, just plain old units. If each side is like in centimeters, then your units will just all be centimeters. If your units are in yards, they'll just all be in yards. No problem. The reason why I'm choosing to explain this is because it's different in those 2. All right, area. We've got our shape here. Like I said, we're dealing with quadrilaterals. So, area, what do we need? How many number of sides do we need to solve this problem? We need 2. Often length times width, right? So 2 sides. So on my shape here, I've shown that they're the different ones. Length times width. So you can see how they're not the same. Now, what operation do I need to use? This is not addition. I actually need to use multiplication. So basically, I'm just taking those 2 sides and I just multiply them together. So think about your like 10 sticks and your hundreds. Okay, never mind. Lisa, we're cutting that out. After I just say multiplication, that's all you need, or whatever it is. All right, units. This is where it gets a little different. Because we're multiplying, we have to write our units in a slightly different way. Now, we could still have centimeters, inches, meters, yards, liters, milliliters, whatever. What we need to do, though, is because we're multiplying 2 units together, the same units, you'll have your units, whatever they are, and then this is what's important, squared. That just told me that you're multiplying 2 of the same units together. That's all, just as you did 2. Because if I go to someone and I say, oh, hey, I need enough for 3 centimeters. And they'll be like, great. Then they'll just give me like this much. But if I say I need enough for 3 centimeters squared, then they know they have to give me a different amount. That's why it's important. Okay, with me so far? All the sides, only 2 of them. Addition, multiplication, units, and units squared. Okay, onto volume. Sometimes, because this is the third concept that generally is taught, it seems like it's more complicated. It's really not. It's just, if you know how to solve area, you can figure out volume. You just have one more step. Okay, so here's my handy dandy 3D shape. So whereas here we had length times width, in a 3D shape, we also have length times width, but we have another one. We have height. So how many sides do I need? I need 1, 2, 3. 3 different sides, which is going to be length times width times height. No problem. Now, what operation am I going to use? Addition, multiplication, multiplication. So again, I'm trying to find out how much is spaced inside of it. So once I have the volume and I figured out that I have to multiply them, excellent. Now where's my units? What do I got to do? Okay, remember, for area, we had 2 sides and we had units squared. So we have 3 sides. So what do you think we're going to have? Units with a 3, which is actually fancy for cubed. 3 units cubed. Here's units squared. Think about, well, it's a square. Could be a rectangle, but units squared and units cubed. As long as you write down these 2s and these 3s, that's half of the answer, in my opinion. If you get the units wrong, it's not going to be the right answer, even though the numbers might be correct. Okay, so just to sum up, this is the chart that I use. Seems like maybe complicated, but as long as you know perimeter, I need all the sides, I'm adding, and just have plain old units. Area, I need 2 sides, length times width, I'm multiplying them, and I have units squared. And then volume, I need 3 sides, length times width times height, multiply them, and I get units cubed. Doesn't matter what numbers these could be. Doesn't necessarily matter the units. Once you know what you're doing, how to find them, you're good to go. Okay, guys, thanks so much. I'm glad that you joined me for the video. I hope you found it helpful. Feel free to leave comments in the links below. I'd love to get some feedback.